If you are still poor at 30, the biggest danger is not your bank account today. It is the belief that you still have endless time to fix everything later. Every year, millions of people promise themselves that next year will be different, yet they wake up older, more stressed, and trapped in the exact same financial position. The scary part is that poverty rarely arrives like a disaster, because most of the time it grows quietly through small decisions nobody notices while you are watching others buy homes, build businesses, and grow investments. Your own financial clock keeps moving whether you pay attention or not. By the end of this video, you may realize that the thing holding you back is not lack of talent, but a habit you repeat every single day. Imagine waking up tomorrow and discovering that your younger years, your strongest years, and your best opportunities have already slipped away. That thought sounds dramatic, but for many people it becomes reality because they spend decades waiting for motivation instead of taking action. Most people think becoming wealthy requires extraordinary intelligence, yet many financially successful people simply mastered ordinary habits before everyone else did. The truth is that money follows patterns, and those patterns often begin long before anyone notices success appearing on the surface. At age 30, you are standing at a financial crossroads where the decisions you make today can multiply for decades ahead. Some people continue living paycheck to paycheck and wonder why life never changes, while others start building assets that work for them. The difference between those two futures is usually smaller than people imagine when they first look at successful individuals. One of the biggest mistakes is believing that higher income automatically solves financial problems, because many high earners remain financially trapped. They buy bigger cars, larger homes, and more expensive lifestyles, only to discover that their expenses grew faster than their income. Meanwhile, someone earning less may quietly save, invest, and create a financial foundation that becomes powerful over time. Wealth is often built in silence, while financial struggle is frequently hidden behind appearances designed to impress other people. Many adults spend years chasing status symbols, never realizing that true financial freedom usually looks boring from the outside. The people who eventually win are often the ones willing to delay comfort today for greater security tomorrow. That choice sounds simple, but it becomes difficult in a world constantly encouraging you to spend more than you earn. Before you can build wealth, you must first understand the invisible traps that keep millions of hardworking people financially stuck. One of those traps is believing that your job alone will make you wealthy, even though income without ownership rarely creates lasting financial freedom. Every day you trade hours for dollars, but the number of hours available to sell remains permanently limited by time itself. The wealthy understand this reality early and begin acquiring assets that continue producing value long after the work is finished. An asset can be an investment, a business, a skill, or something that earns money while you focus elsewhere. The problem is that most people spend their entire paycheck maintaining liabilities instead of building assets that appreciate over time. They celebrate purchases that lose value every year, while ignoring opportunities that could increase their future wealth. This pattern repeats month after month until they suddenly realize an entire decade has disappeared without meaningful financial progress. Another dangerous trap is the belief that small amounts of money are too insignificant to matter in the long run. People often waste $20 here, $50 there, and hundreds more each month without ever tracking where it goes. Individually, those amounts seem harmless, but together, they create a financial leak that quietly drains future opportunities. Imagine planting a tree and digging up its roots a little every week, then wondering why it never grows strong. That is exactly what happens when savings and investments are constantly sacrificed for temporary pleasures and impulse spending. The hardest truth about money is that your future lifestyle is often determined by choices that seem unimportant today. Most financial disasters do not begin with one terrible decision, but with hundreds of small decisions, repeated consistently. Successful people understand that habits shape outcomes, and outcomes eventually shape the quality of an entire life. Every dollar you control becomes a worker that can either leave forever or continue generating value for years ahead. Unfortunately, many people never learn to assign jobs to their money, so Every paycheck disappears before accomplishing anything meaningful. They work harder, earn more, and stay exhausted because the system they follow never actually changes. At first, this cycle feels normal, because everyone around them is living exactly the same way and facing the same struggles. But the moment you step outside that cycle, you begin seeing opportunities that were hidden in plain sight all along. One opportunity many people ignore is investing in themselves. Even though it often produces the highest return available anywhere, a new skill can increase your earning power for years, while a new gadget usually loses value the moment you buy it. The marketplace rewards people who solve problems, and larger problems almost always lead to larger financial rewards. If you want more money, start by becoming more valuable to the people, companies, and communities you serve. This does not happen overnight, but neither does financial struggle, which is why patience becomes such an important advantage. Many people quit after a few months because they cannot see immediate results, forgetting that most success grows beneath the surface first. Think of a seed buried underground, where nothing appears to happen, even though important growth is already taking place. Financial success often follows the same pattern, rewarding consistency long before it rewards visibility. Another reason people remain poor is that they spend more time consuming entertainment than building knowledge that could change their future. Hours disappear scrolling through content that provides temporary distraction, but contributes nothing to long-term financial progress. Meanwhile, someone else is spending those same hours learning sales, marketing, investing, communication, or business skills. 5 years later, the gap between those two people looks enormous. Even though it started with small daily choices, the world often calls that gap luck. But luck usually receives credit for discipline nobody witnessed. There is also a hidden cost to staying around people who constantly complain without taking responsibility for their circumstances. Their mindset slowly becomes contagious, influencing your expectations, decisions, and beliefs about what is possible. If everyone around you believes financial success is impossible, eventually you may begin acting as though it is impossible too. Your environment does not determine your destiny, but it can strongly influence the direction you travel every day. That is why successful people intentionally surround themselves with ideas, conversations, and individuals that encourage growth. They understand that protecting their mindset is just as important as protecting their money. The person you become over the next decade will largely depend on what you repeatedly learn, believe, and practice today. By the time many people reach their mid-30s, they begin feeling pressure because reality starts exposing the consequences of earlier decisions. Bills become larger, responsibilities increase, and the freedom they expected somehow feels farther away than ever before. This is often the moment when panic replaces confidence, and financial stress begins affecting every area of life. Relationships become strained, sleep becomes difficult, and simple financial setbacks suddenly feel overwhelming. Yet this same moment can become a turning point if you are willing to confront the truth. Honestly, the truth is that financial freedom rarely arrives by accident, because intentional results usually require intentional action. Waiting for the perfect opportunity often becomes an excuse that delays progress for months or even years. The perfect time almost never appears, which means successful people learn to move forward despite uncertainty. They understand that action creates clarity, while endless hesitation usually creates regret. Every successful investor, entrepreneur, and wealth builder once started with limited knowledge and imperfect conditions. What separated them from others was not certainty about the future, but willingness to begin anyway. Many people fear making mistakes, yet mistakes often teach lessons that no book, course, or mentor can provide. The greater danger is not failing once or twice, but never attempting anything meaningful at all. Imagine looking back at age 60 and realizing that fear quietly stole decades of potential growth. That regret would likely hurt far more than any temporary setback experienced while pursuing a better future. Wealth building is not about becoming obsessed with money, but about creating options that improve the quality of your life. Money can provide freedom of choice, freedom of time, and freedom from many unnecessary forms of stress. Without financial stability, even talented and hardworking people often find themselves limited by circumstances they cannot easily control. This is why learning financial discipline is not selfish, but one of the most responsible decisions you can make. The sooner you understand this principle, the sooner you can begin changing the direction of your financial story. The good news is that being poor at 30 does not mean you are destined to stay poor for the rest of your life. Many successful people started with debt, setbacks, failures, and years of frustration before finally changing their trajectory. Their breakthrough usually began when they stopped blaming circumstances and started focusing on what they could control. They tracked their spending, improved their skills, increased their income, and invested consistently even when progress felt slow. Those actions were not exciting at first, but over time, they created momentum that became impossible to ignore. Small improvements repeated for years often produce results that appear extraordinary to people who never started. This is why consistency beats intensity, because temporary motivation fades while disciplined habits continue working. Every day presents a new opportunity to make one decision that moves your financial future in a better direction. That decision may be learning a skill, paying off debt, saving money, or creating an additional income stream. Whatever the choice, the important thing is refusing to remain passive while time continues moving forward. Remember, the years ahead will pass whether you act or not, and that reality cannot be negotiated with anyone. 5 years from now, you can either thank yourself for starting today or wish you had started when you had the chance. The difference between those two futures depends largely on the actions you take after this video ends. Nobody can build your future for you, and nobody can care about your financial life more than you do. The responsibility may feel heavy, but it is also powerful because it places control back into your hands. If you are still poor at 30, do not see that as a life sentence, but as a warning sign demanding action. The clock is still moving, yet there is still enough time to change direction if you begin now. The greatest risk is not being poor today, but remaining comfortable with staying exactly where you are. Years from now, your future self will either celebrate the choices you made today or live with the consequences of avoiding them. So before it becomes too late, make the decision that many never make. Start building the future you want while you still have time.